As an aspiring bodybuilder, it is my job to build as much muscle as I possibly can. And that means that I have to eat a lot. But what would happen if I didn't? For the next 90 days, I'm going to be going on what is called and commonly known as a cut. Is this scaring me? Yes, in fact, the prospect of possibly destroying all of my hard-earned gains is kind of bringing tears to my eyes. But in the long run, and if everything goes according to plan, I should be left with an absolutely Adonis chiseled physique. At least that's the plan. Whether that comes to fruition, you'll find out by the end of the video. But for me, it's going to be a long 90 days of eating some very bland food and being extremely dialed in and trying not to lose my mind more than I already have. So without further ado, let's get started with day one. I'll see you over there. Wish me luck. Meal one is going down now, and as you saw a second ago, it's looking pretty bland. And as I look down at it now, I'm just thinking to myself, are abs and arm veins really worth it? And then I think, of course they are. Abs and arm veins are sick. But maybe my thoughts won't be the same after the end of this challenge. But for now, as I munch down on this staple meal for what I'm going to be eating for the next however long, I'm going to let future Jai give you the rundown for this video.
Alright, so for the next 90 days, this cut will be my number one priority. Over the course of the cut, our calorie deficit will be 384 calories per day. And considering there's 3,500 calories per pound of body fat, it should take us roughly 9 days to lose 1 pound of fat. Therefore, over the 90 days, we should expect to lose 10 pounds. However, we need to lose closer to 15 pounds to achieve our goal, which means we will need to taper off the calories as we go, or we just extend the duration of the cut, and that's a decision that we'll have to make closer to the end of the challenge. Now that we know our deficit, let's have a look at the training split. Day one is going to consist of shoulders and arms. Day two is going to be focused on chest and back. Day three is going to be legs and shoulders with an obvious leg focus. Day four is going to be a rest day. Day five is going to be geared towards chest and triceps. Day six is going to be back and biceps. And again, you have a rest day on day 7 before repeating the cycle. As well as covering the major things that everyone cares about, like weight and my current physique throughout the weeks, we're also going to be tracking some more smaller localized things, like my hunger cravings week to week, how are my workouts, am I getting pumped still, do I have good energy, am I focused, and how's my strength. And another thing to keep in mind that we're going to check on is my mental clarity, mental state as we go with the challenge. Now, some of you may be wondering why our calorie deficit is starting at 380 calories per day. And the studies have shown that a calorie deficit of between 500 to 750, depending on the individual, will essentially blunten MPS, which is muscle protein synthesis. So at the start of this cut, I'm going to try and avoid entering that blunting of MPS by having as minimal calorie deficit as we can. And then obviously towards the end of the cut, when we need to lose that last bit of fat, that's when that taper off effect will bring us into even more of a calorie deficit.
And here we go. We're about to commence the very first session of training on the cut. We've got legs today, unfortunately. I know, we all want to cry, it's not just me. But I'm not expecting anything extremely out of the ordinary today because obviously it's only one day in. I don't expect my energy stores to be rapidly depleting or anything like that. So I'm thinking that at least for the first week, I don't think anything's gonna feel too out of the ordinary. maybe by the end of the week, or at least definitely going into the second week, I think I'll start to feel the energy dips. So far today, I haven't had any cravings for anything. Like I said just a second ago, and this applies probably for a lot of things in the first week, it's not going to feel like a chore for the first week. I think for the first week, it's actually going to feel like a reward in a way after so long of stuffing my face with as many calories or clean calories as I can get in to an extent. This start of the cut is going to feel quite good. The only thing that I can tell different today compared to the past few days, or the past however long, is that I just feel a bit lighter, and that's not a bad feeling at all. I certainly won't be getting an insane pump today, especially because I'm training legs, so I won't even be able to see it. But I do just feel lighter. I don't feel as rigid in my stomach. I feel like I can move pretty well. And I'm expecting that to be a pretty consistent trend, as obviously I'm not just going to be fatigued and lethargic from overeating all the time. But eventually I assume I will end up lethargic from just lack of energy. But we're just going to take you through the workout, just make sure nothing is out of the ordinary. And then I'll report back at the end for the final recap of day one. So we'll start off with some leg press. I won't show you everything, but we'll just recap the main events from the workout. So far, no problems, no concerns. My knee is slightly sore, but that's completely unrelated to the cut. We'll probably go another, maybe one more, maybe two more plates after this. We'll see how my knee feels. But I'm assuming everything's going to be fine and dandy. But if anything does go awry, you'll know at the end of the workout. I need to get my cardio better on the cut as well. But so far, no problems. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of day one of the cut. I'm very excited for the coming weeks. It should be very exciting. It's been a long time since I've done a proper cut. I'm trying to make this snappy because my legs feel like jelly and I think I'm about to piss myself. But with that said, the next time you see me will be 1 week into the challenge. Now, this probably should go in the prelude, but it's going to go in here. If we do reach our target goal ahead of schedule, then that will also mark the end of the cut, because I'm not doing this necessarily as a set amount of days. I'd prefer to keep it as getting to the target weight, because I think we might get there a little bit early, and then we can always decide if we want to push that envelope and go even lower. But I'd like to sit somewhere between where I am now and contest ready, so somewhere about in the middle. But I don't want to make this bit too long, so that's going to do it, guys. I'll see you in 1 week from today with the first physique update, the first weight update, and a whole bunch of updates about how I've been tracking with the diet. See you then. All right, so the week 1 weigh-in is going down. I'm predicting, and obviously I've been monitoring as we go, so I'm assuming that we've lost about 1.5 kilos, but we'll have a look on scales and see what it says, and we'll go over whether that's on pace, whether we need to change anything up. Let's actually have a look at what the scales say first. And if you want the blurred content, you can go subscribe to my other channel. Okay, so 95.7 is the reading for week 1, which I'm pretty happy with. Let's have a little debrief about why. So I'm pretty happy with the fact that we lost 1.5 kilos in week 1.
The reason why that's okay and isn't too accelerated is because if you remember, we started at 97 kg and this is going over about a 12 to 13 week period. So you might be thinking 1.5 kilos in only a week is way too much, like you're going at too aggressive of a speed. But in reality, a lot of that is water weight. Despite my carb intake still being quite high, a lot of that weight that's shed is still going to be water weight. So I'm not too concerned with losing that amount of weight this quickly. And what I'm expecting to see in the coming weeks is that trend slowly tapers off. For example, next week we might be down another 700 grams or maybe, another 2 pounds maybe. But after that, we should be tapering slower and slower as we go. We will graph all of the weigh-ins for you at the end of the video so you can see what that looks like in an easier visual representation. But with that said, this is the first check-in, so we can go over a couple of other things that I said that we would talk about. Now, the first of which being, how are my hunger cravings? And let me tell you, if you remember in the first video, I said that the first week was probably not going to be so bad because I've been force feeding for so long in my bulk that I thought it would be a nice refreshing change of pace. And that wasn't entirely wrong, but after about 3 days, let's just say every single sweet treat my eyes glanced upon nearly finished the challenge there and then. Now, the energy, the pump, the focus, and the strength in that order. My energy has been relatively normal. I haven't seen any drastic dips so far this week. Despite hunger cravings every so often, my energy has still been relatively high. The pumps have been getting gradually worse as time progresses, but that was expected and I'm not upset about that. Well, I am upset about that, you can tell by my face, but it was expected, so it's okay. And we just gotta hope that by the time we shed off this body fat and we can actually fuel up for some proper pumps again, then it's just gonna look that much better. And then finally, strength. My strength has not dipped yet at all, which is very good. As I said, basically all the weight that we've lost this week has mostly been water. So it's not going to have a huge correlating effect to my strength at all. Something that's also worth mentioning is that during this week I've felt significantly lighter, despite only being down, I think, 2.5 kilos total at the lowest, and that was after a little bit too long of fasting and a little bit less water throughout the day. Despite only being down that amount, I have felt significantly lighter and more mobile, which has been quite a good feeling. And that's sort of what I wanted going into the first couple of weeks of this, to feel that mobility, agility, flexibility, just that ability to move easier. So that's been very nice. And second to last, how am I feeling mentally? Now, other than sitting in a bathtub while recording this segment, I'm doing completely fine mentally. Honestly, so far the challenge has been very fun. I haven't had any really problems with anything so far. In fact, it's actually quite easy to eat the same meal over and over again. It just takes out a lot of the thinking, and all of the meal prep takes me about half the time that it used to. Eating, unfortunately, takes me probably twice as long because it's as dry as the desert, trying to force that down. But yes, overall, mentally, still going strong. The bathtub might make that questionable for the viewers, for you guys at home. But don't worry, everything's going good. Now, the thing that you're probably all wanting to see more than anything is how is the current physique. Now, I have to pick a spot that we're going to do these physique check-ins. So wherever that may be, I'll see you over there. All right, so we are actually just going to stay in the same spot for this. Now, the only problem that I can foresee with this is that you cannot show the legs.
Show the legs, bro.
But most of my fat I store around my lower back and on my stomach, which you'll see when we hit some front poses. So, without delaying too much, we'll get into showing the 1 week physique update. And obviously, I'm sure you guys will see the legs obviously throughout certain workouts and etc. But this is sort of the best I could do with like a controlled environment. So we're just going to run it with this, and then you should be able to see visible changes over the weeks in the leanness of my back, my shoulders, etc. So it should still give you the same idea. And then obviously we'll try and show the legs at the end, but just so we can have a controlled environment, I'm just going to choose to do it in here where I can always have the lighting the same, always put the camera in the same spot. And yeah. All right, let's get going with the week 1 update. And it wouldn't be fair to do this without a posing song, so that's why I've got my headphones on.
I just want you. I just want you. The words I never said but wanted to. I'm losing you. I'm losing.
Now obviously every week we're going to be doing fasted posing, morning posing, so like morning fasted posing. Obviously, like I said, we'll do it in the same spot every week, just to keep as many variables the same as we can. Hopefully, the only variable that will change is that I might end up with a tan by the end of this. So I'm extremely white. I don't know if there's anything white in here that you could color match my skin to, but it's not looking good for me in terms of a tan. But hopefully, by the time we are nice and shredded, we might add a little bit of color as well. So you can see there, look at that, it's like paper, it's like paper. Anyway, that is the physique update for week 1. So I will see you in week 2, provided I don't add any little extra information after this. Okay, it is day 10, I think, or maybe 11. I'm a bit lost because I just woke up and something very weird has happened the last 2 days. And I've talked about this in the past, but some of you might know that I struggle tremendously with sleep, getting to sleep, staying asleep. But the last 2 days, I have just been sleeping like a baby. I have just been completely zonked out of my mind. And at the start of the challenge, I did hypothesize, I did predict perchance that this might happen, because obviously reduced calories, I won't have as much energy, especially going to sleep. Like my body will just sort of want me to shut down more because I won't have that forced energy. But that's a very strange thing that I'm noticing. And I don't know how long it will last, because I'm assuming that there's sort of going to be a bell curve effect where on one end I'm eating too many calories, so I can't get to sleep and stay asleep. But then there's going to be a sweet spot, which I might be in right now,
But then I think I'm gonna dip back down once the calories are once I then end up back on the lower side of calories, and then I'm just gonna be waking up hungry and stuff like that. If that makes sense. That's sort of what I'm predicting. But while we're in the sweet spot right now, sorry for waving all the microphone around, while we're in the sweet spot right now, I'm going to enjoy it as much as I can and savor it because it feels incredibly nice. Yesterday I think I slept for like 11 hours and today I slept for about 8, but both nights were like straight sleeps almost. And I've felt very rested both days. But yes, that's a little update for you. Wish me luck and hope that I stay on top of the bell curve as far as sleep goes for at least another week would be nice. I'll catch you in the next update.
All right, that is the workout for, I think this is day 13. Yes, because week 2 update will come tomorrow. I'm not going to spoil what we're weighing in at the moment, but I'll just say we're pretty well on track. Now, this week, obviously, as you saw, we unlocked caffeine, and I've been traveling all week, but the workouts that I have had in their normal slots were absolutely insane. I was saying to a couple of people who spotted me throughout the week, just some of the regular people I see at my gym, I was saying that I've been jittery, like most of my workouts on account of being very, having a very hyper response to caffeine since my tolerance has dropped so low over all of that time not having caffeine on my bulk. So it was a really cool and interesting feeling to come in with so much it was almost like nervous energy. It's almost like you've got those butterflies in your stomach. So I do recommend doing a caffeine detox, as it were. And I'll obviously have some clips going on overhead for you guys from the workout. But this is a very good pace for what I want to be at for this stage in the cut. I don't feel too fatigued. I haven't noticed maybe I am noticing some events. What I was trying to say is I haven't noticed many times where I've had like brain fog or severe lack of energy or anything like that. But I'm sure that will come later down the line. But so far we're tracking really well. We missed a few meals here and there, so that may show tomorrow in the weigh-in. But as far as the workouts are going, they're honestly going perfectly. We've had no strength dips at all. In fact, no, I wouldn't say my strength has gone up. But I think it's a bit of a mental thing because I don't feel any lethargy. I don't feel fatigued. Sometimes I would feel so encumbered from all of the food that I'd eat that I'd come in for some workouts and I'd just be really sluggish. But I haven't felt that, so that has sort of allowed me to push harder. And that's also been a really cool aspect of being on the cut so far. But I need to stop blabbering because I need to condense all of this into one video. But if you want to see the full workout from tonight, it'll be up on one of my other videos. Maybe go look at all of them and you'll find it somewhere in there. Wink and subscribe while you're at it. But for that video, I need to go do the posing. But I'll see you tomorrow morning for the weigh-in of week 2.
All right, what a lovely day to be alive. It is day 14/week 2 of the cut, which means it's weigh-in day and physique update day. So, without further ado, the main metric that I want to know about, the weight. Let's have a look what that's saying. Right, so last week we stepped on at about 95.2. This morning, 94.2. We're going a bit too fast, but as you'll remember from the very beginning of the video, I said that we were gonna have to speed things up to hit our target weight on time. So I'm not entirely upset with being a little bit ahead of schedule. So with the hopes and dreams of a little sweet treat in mind, it's time to move on to the physique update and see if we're looking at week 2, down already about 4 kilos, depending on what necessarily counts as the start weight. Down, let's just say 8 pounds. Meet in the middle somewhere. Down 8 pounds, so let's get a physique update. And then I'll see you next time something interesting happens.
I just want you. The words I never said but wanted to. I'm losing you. I'm losing you. Oh, but these thoughts won't.
Alright, and usually when I'm sitting here, my room is clean. Today, not so much, because as you would have seen, I just got back from travelling, so I have not had time. I'm just recording this now for you guys to keep you updated on the cut. So, the regular check-ins, hunger cravings, mood, etc. And we went over a little bit of this last night, so we'll just stick to the food side tonight. The hunger cravings have been fine. I have honestly not had any cravings other than, let's just put it this way, the hunger cravings haven't been so bad that I have acted on them. I have definitely seen some things, like those Krispy Kreme donuts we just talked about, and wanted to demolish an entire 6-pack. But for the interests of my 6-pack, we can't do that. So, they haven't been so bad as far as hunger cravings. My mood is still great. Probably better than on the bulk, to be honest. I don't feel so fatigued and over encumbered all the time. My strength still hasn't noticed any dips. I have a chest and back day today, which I am absolutely thrilled about, and we'll probably be able to see if our numbers are starting to go down again today, but as of right now, we're all good. We're in the clear. And other than what I said before about the physique looking a bit flat, I haven't noticed anything negative thus far. So keep our optimism high, and we're just going to keep pushing. Ladies and germtiles, I have some very unfortunate news. I have fallen ill. Yes, I know, this is a tragedy, but it shall not get in the way of the cut. It will pose as a minor hurdle, however. I will pretty well be unable to train. My body right now feels like I was run over by an entire herd of elephants and then strapped to a train track in which a full-on loaded locomotive ran into me and eviscerated all of my vital organs. However, we will still be trying our absolute best to find a way to get down our macros and do some sort of training where possible. We're probably going to have very deloaded workouts, and by that I mean we're probably going to be training with much lower volume, much lower weight, and that's if we're training at all. But for the time being, wish your boy luck. It's one day until the week 3 update. And all I'm going to be doing is trying to keep my fluids up and hit my macros, and spending a whole lot of time resting right here in this bed, in this hoodie, listening to the rain outside, which is probably the only beneficial thing about this, is that it's perfect weather to be staying in and sleeping. With that said, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the update, where I will likely still be as sick, if not more sick. Can't wait. It'll be good. How's my hair? See you tomorrow.
Good morning, boys and girls. I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is, the last time you saw me, I was getting sick, and I am no longer sick. The bad news is I was really you might still hear it in my voice. I'm still a bit sniffly, like I still am coughing and stuff. It wasn't scripted, that sniffle, I promise. But yes, it was really rough, and I lost a ton of weight. I'm swearing a lot today. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm doing that. Yes, this is the post-sickness update. We'll do the weigh-in, and then we'll do the physique update. It's not actually week 4 yet. That's still 2 days away, but I just wanted to do a check-in update since it's celebrating the end of the sickness being over. So yeah, let's do the weigh-in and then check out what it looks like after a whole week of being on the verge of dying. So yeah, what the actual reading was off screen, which I did, was 90.7, which is exactly 200 pounds. So I'm quickly barreling back towards victim weight, which is not ideal. Anyway, let's just do the physique update. So without further ado, I'll strap you in to the tripod and show you my semi-nude body.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I don't know what I'm talking about. Being sick really does the number on me. All right, it is officially week 6 update day. That means we are 42 days in, and that time has gone really quickly. Like, you know, whenever you're about to start something that's going to take a long time, it sort of feels like forever away. But now we're 6 weeks in, time has gone in the blink of an eye. And we're damn near 20 pounds down, so yeah, I decided to do the weigh-in off camera today, and I might continue to do it like that for the rest, just because I want them to be as accurate as possible, so I'm doing them with much less clothes on. So I can't really film that. But it was 89.9 kg, or what's that, about 198.5 pounds, which means 2 things. Firstly, we are sub 200 pounds for the first time in a long time, and secondly, we are victim weight again, which is a very sad reality, but yeah, we live, we move, it's gonna be okay. And I thought 6 weeks in would be a good time to revisit the things that we said we'd talk about around, like just, you know, outside of just the weigh-ins and stuff like that. The first of which is the hunger. And at the start of this challenge, about like 3 weeks ago now, I was saying how it
would, you know, it would be easier towards the start as far as the deficit, and then towards the end it would definitely ramp up. And that's exactly what happened. Like in the last few days, especially, there was one day where I think I missed a meal or something like that. Far out, man. I was just on the verge of like ramming my head through a wall. I was just so hungry, and yeah, that was not a good day. But I think, like I said, I had missed a meal, and then I was out for a long time, so I couldn't make that meal up. But yeah, that's just one case. And obviously, like even right now, I'm really hungry, and it's because I do these morning updates fasted, just to give the most accurate results. But like I'm very hungry now, hence why I'm probably looking like I'm struggling to focus on what I'm talking about. And that leads me to the next thing, brain fog. Honestly, I don't know whether I even covered everything I wanted to talk about hunger, but like I said, my brain traveled off, so we should go with it. The brain fog has been getting progressively worse, and it sort of looks like what you just saw. Like I'll be sort of thinking about one thing, and then all of a sudden I'll just trail, and then another thought will catch my mind, and then I sort of have to divert my focus there for a bit, and then it'll just drift off again. So it's sort of like, yeah, I don't know, it's just becoming slightly harder to focus on things for like an extended period of time. But that's okay, it's not too bad so far. And obviously the calories are still very high. They're fairly low for me, but they're still like really high. They're still hovering around probably the 2,700-ish. Because obviously we're sort of tapering it back a bit. It's more, you know, day-to-day dependent. But yeah, it's still high calories, but for me, with my maintenance being around 3,300 or 3,400, and over 6 weeks now, it's definitely noticeable, but it's not too bad. I definitely can't complain that much. Like, I'm sure in a 16-week deficit, or some people even do like 22 weeks, I think, for like a drawn out prep, that would just be like, by the end of that, you would be on your last legs, that's for sure. Now, that's enough yapping about that. What else did I want to talk about? What else did I want to talk about? I had to go get my notes sheet with the things I wanted to talk about because I completely forgot. That was another one. The pumps. So we talked about the pumps. The pumps have been so hard to come by, for two reasons. The obvious being the lower calories are just making it that much harder to have like a massive bout of energy for my workouts. And the carbs are, like, they're still high, but they're not as high as they usually are. Because obviously as we're tapering back. But the thing that we haven't spoken about, and the thing that is, you know, it's like an outlier. It's not something that everyone will experience, and this is location dependent. For me, it has been absolutely freezing the last, well, it's winter for me where I am, and it gets really cold here in winter. Not to mention, my workouts have been taking place in my shed, and it gets bloody cold down there in my home gym. I'll throw up a little clip on screen now of the other night when I was in the gym, and you can go check out this workout as well in another video, but we were in the gym and it was 9 degrees wherever the local like measurement thing is, wherever they take those recordings, thermometer, but where I was, and you know, on the app it sort of says what it is, and especially if there's wind or hail or whatever else there could be, it'll give you what it feels like, as in what the temperature feels like. And that was at 0 degrees, and I can guarantee you that's exactly what it felt like, because in my home gym it's literally just concrete floors, well there's the mats as well obviously, but concrete floors, aluminium walls, like it is literally an ice box down there. So what are we even talking about? The pumps, that's why it's so hard to get a pump. I haven't been able to see any of the new vascularity that would be coming in. And yeah, the pumps have just been a bit mediocre, because I find, and I'm sure this, you know, everyone would find this, with that extra heat, you're sort of just bringing all that blood to the surface even easier. So the pumps are just, yeah, they're a bit lackluster, but you know, that's to be expected with those two variables in mind. So the pumps have been doo-doo, but you know, that's fine. Next on the cheat sheet, yeah, that's the other thing, and this sort of relates to the brain fog. I've been so focused on my meals that I often forget to have like my supplements, which is my creatine, my multivitamin, my magnesium, and my, what the hell did I just miss in that list? Magnesium, creatine, multivitamin. And my zinc. That was so bad. I promise you that was not scripted. But that was a perfect example of how hard it can be to think at the moment. Anyway, that's actually so embarrassing. I might have to edit that out. But yeah, so I've sort of forgotten to take my supplements like very often, because every time I'm focused on just getting my meal down, and then I'm like, okay, that's out of the way, then like section off time until meal 2. And so I feel like I've been using all of my like, you know, because obviously you have your supplements around your meals and stuff, so I feel like I'm using all of my meal brain power to focus on the meals, and then just like, not completely, there are days where I remember, and I do try and make a point of remembering, but often, very often in fact, I've been completely forgetting. So if you are going on your own cut in the near future, do not forget to take your supplements. It's even more relevant to take your supplements when you are on a cut or in a calorie deficit, or when you might be suffering some nutrient deficiencies from, you know, eating less diversely, less of whatever it may be, you know. Just how nutrient deficiencies come about, this is a very important time to make sure you're keeping up to date on all of your supplements. But keep in mind, they're supplements. They're there to supplement, not to make up an entire difference. Anyway, far out, man. We are rambling today. I don't know why I record. Well, I do know why I record this in the morning. It's for the weigh-ins and the consistency of results. But my brain and everything does not work in the morning. Not that it's even the morning anymore. It's literally 12:18. It's like midday, but I didn't wake up that long ago. Because last night we got our workout in at midnight. So do with that information what you will. Anyway, back to the cheat sheet. Yes. Okay. I thought, and this is just based on like last night's workout and everything, I thought I would be looking more shredded by now than what I do. Because obviously when I was up at like 220, well, I only really got to 220 for a very short amount of time, but I was sitting around like 216 for a long time there. And so now that we're down 16 pounds, 18 pounds if we're generous, I thought like that's going to make a massive difference, and it has. It's definitely clear to see that my waist has become much smaller, and when I do have whatever pump I can get, you can sort of see the separation between like areas like my delts and biceps. There's still like very little separation in my quads because I do hold a lot of fat in my legs. Without further ado, let us commence the week 6 physique update. I'm going to go on mute mode and pump up the speaker. I love posing with music, it just makes everything flow better. I don't know why I'm telling you that, I've been doing it for weeks and I haven't told you that, but you know, better late than never. My back's sore. Okay, let's do it.
We're just falling, and we won't always free fall back to nothing.
Alright, we are back. This is week 7. I've just done the weigh, I'll put it on screen here. Because of last week's extremely lengthy preamble and my rant, I'm going to try and make this week much quicker. So let's just do the physique update. We've got the weigh in. Now the only notable thing is that I think this week has been the week with the least weight reduction. And now, depending how much further we want to take this, because we're actually very close to, we're only about 3 pounds away from what I was thinking the end goal would be, which was around 195. So depending on how much further we want to take this, which is something I have to decide off camera, but then I'll obviously sort of bring you up to speed when I figure out what I want to do, is how much longer we're going to do this cut. And if I am going to keep going, keep pushing lower, then obviously we're going to have to reduce the calories even further, because as of now, and as of what we've noticed with the weight, with the scale weight not decreasing this week, is that my body has sort of re-established its new maintenance. So we just got to drop the calories even lower, which is totally fine. But that's just a decision we have to make. So yeah, let's have a look at how much the physique has progressed in 1 week.
And we won't always free fall back to nothing, 'cause I'm just starting to learn. I've always been chasing.
Later that same evening.
Alright, boys and girls, I have some updates for you. It is the same day as whatever you just saw. Now, let me show you something. See how that says 3:46? That is not PM. That is AM. It is 3:46 AM. And by the way, that's why I'm wearing this. Please don't judge the fit. I cannot sleep. I am so hungry. I am so far under my calories for today, which is sort of by design. I'm doing a low calorie day to sort of prepare for the low calories that are to come. That doesn't really make any sense. What I'm saying is I literally cannot stop thinking about just demolishing an entire box of donuts, or like a gigantic slab of lasagna, or like, I don't even know, just a whole rotisserie chicken. It does not matter. I feel so hungry right now, and I absolutely cannot get to sleep. So that's your little update. Please don't judge the fit. Please don't judge how messy the room is. And I'm sorry for whispering or talking quietly and with no conviction. But yeah, I sort of feel like a degenerating person. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, for like the 10th time, I'm going to go try and get to sleep. Wish me luck. It's literally 10 minutes till 4 in the morning. This is not ideal.
Alright, week 8 update, which means we are, 56 days in. And according to the predetermined timeline, that means we only have 2 weeks left, which is going to be ending up to be the correct amount of time, because obviously we've reduced the calories already, and the weight is going down at the pace that we want it to. This morning's weigh-in, I did off camera to get the correct accuracy, if you know what I mean. And this morning's weigh-in was 87.7 kg, or what's that, about 194 pounds or something like that. Yeah, 194, 193. Which is already lower than what I thought we were going to end at, which is good. It's sort of a good learning curve to properly estimate how truly lean, like stage lean is. Because right now, so let's put it like this, at the start of the cut, I was, end of the bulk, I was probably like, still within a healthy body fat range, maybe just about to go out of it. Now I'm probably still 3, 4, 5% off being social media lean, and then another 5-6% off being stage lean, which is kind of crazy, but it's good because this is sort of the first proper dedicated carb ever done, so it's sort of a good it's good to like put in my mind what it's really going to look like when it comes time for stage. Now, with all that said, that's the weigh-ins. What am I talking about? The physique check obviously comes with every week. Now this week, because obviously, if you remember the macros from the start of the video, maybe I'll put them over this bit while I'm talking. Since then, we have decreased the carbs, because obviously when it comes to making up the macro split, I don't want to reduce the protein. I can't really reduce the fat anymore. If anything, the fat maybe could have started a bit higher, but that's neither here nor there. So the carbs is sort of the only thing that we can fluctuate to reduce our overall calories, which is totally fine, and it's exactly why the carbs started so high, for that exact reason. But because of dropping them towards the end as we reduce the calories, I'm looking even more stringy or flat. What the hell just happened there? So you'll probably see that in the physique. Like for example, my shoulders usually cap a little bit more. I don't have great shoulders at the best of times, but usually they're a tiny bit more capped. My bicep vein usually like protrudes through a bit, you can see that, but at the moment, not much of that going on. And yeah, you'll just see what I'm talking about. Like the cuts aren't super deep anywhere. But, and I don't know if you'll see any of this because obviously we do this physique update posing fasted in the morning with no pump or anything. So you'll probably never see this, but when I'm like in the gym and have a pump, then the cuts and everything, the veins are looking like far better than they did on the bulk. But it's just this depleted, no pump version that we get in the mornings that is looking like extra stringy and flat. But that's to be expected, and if you know anything about nutrition, anything about all of this stuff, then you'll know that that's totally expected and there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. So that's probably enough yapping. Let's get into the physique update. And then, I don't know, something will happen. All right, so to break up all of the physique updates, I'm going to insert a day in the life of eating while on a cut. Now, you may recognize this backdrop because this is where I film all of my anabolic kitchen videos, and if you have not seen any of those, please go check them out. But I definitely don't eat any of that food that I cook over there on the cut. So today's mini episode is going to be showing you guys what I do eat on the cut. And now, I just want to preface this by saying that my diet on this cut consists of very seldom variety, and you do not have to diet like this. If you have the money, the time, the resources, if you have what's necessary to make a diverse meal plan that still hits your macros, you can make it flavorful, then, not to mention, you're getting to so many more micronutrients from other varieties of food, then I absolutely implore you to do that. However, for me, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, I don't have the time, and I just don't like care about what I eat. I think it was Jay Cutler who, don't quote me on this, but said something about just eating like a machine, like it didn't matter what he had to eat, he just would do it. And I sort of feel the same way, like it doesn't really bother me that much. Like some people look at it, well actually everyone that I know looks at it and goes, do you not get bored of that? Like how do you just eat the same thing over and over and over? And I'm like, I just don't care that much, to be honest with you. So with that said, and I'm rambling and I'm low on energy because this is meal one of the day, so let's show you how we do it. Now, 3 things you will need: your avocado for your healthy fats, your rice. I typically have been going with white rice, higher GI, faster burn, gets me straight into my workouts, and I don't typically find any crashes from having high GI carb sources, but if you want a lower GI, slower burn carb source, just swap for like brown rice or something. Third and finally, and most importantly, chicken breast. Now, when it comes to seasoning, I
started off grabbing utensils. I started off the cut without seasonings, but soon I was like, they're really not adding that many calories, and I can just substitute a tiny bit of carbs or whatever to make up the calories, just so that I can actually continuously eat this. Which kind of contradicts what I just said about eating without flavor and whatever, but you know, I like seasonings. Hate on me all you want. Okay, let's do this. So, get your set of scales, keep them close by because you're going to be needing them very regularly. Power on, grab your plate, then zero your plate, then 270 grams of chicken breast, 102, 182, 304, so trim a bit off of this. 270. Okay, so there's your 270 grams of chicken breast. Leave the scale on there, zero it again. Now comes the rice, and like I was saying, actually you might not have seen this yet, but something I will say in the future if you haven't seen this yet, is that as the calories have gone down, the carbs is the thing that you manipulate the most, because you sort of, when you're making your plan, you need to adhere to hitting the right amount of protein, about 1 to 1.5 grams per pound of desired body weight. And then with fats, you don't want to go below a certain level because it will really interrupt your hormone production. It'll get things going all over the place. I think it's like 0.3 grams per pound of body weight is the lowest, and then 0.5 or 0.6, maybe you don't want to go above that. So yeah, which means that the carbs is the thing that can fluctuate. I might put some diagrams up to explain that better. But yeah, the carbs is the thing that you fluctuate. So at the beginning of this cut, my carbs were 340 per meal, or 340 grams of rice, I should say. Or maybe it was 370. No, I think it was 340. But because it's the thing that we fluctuate, now that we're getting towards the end of it, we're only going to do about 150 or 200 grams of carbs. So there's 122. There's 200 there. So, and I think I just said 200 grams of carbs instead of 200 grams of rice, but I meant 200 grams of rice per meal. All right, so that's that. And then we go in with the avocado. Cardinal sin, cutting this thing with a butter knife, but you know, saves us the time. All right, power back on. And then we're just gonna go with 80 grams of avocado. It's basically going to be a half an avocado. Perfect. All right. So that's it. That's literally all there is to it. The avocado only comes in 2 meals of the day. If you want a little bit more fat, just have a little bit more avocado or find another cleaner source of fat. I probably should have turned the light on for this. Oh well, bump it up in post. But yeah, that's all there is to it. I eat the same thing 3 times a day. When I'm feeling like a snack, we're gonna have to cut that. When I'm feeling like a snack, I'll just have some cottage cheese, plain cottage cheese, 97% fat-free, and with some apple or strawberry, because it's super low calorie, high in protein. The cottage cheese, I don't have any cottage cheese at the moment,
to show you, but it's like 12 grams of protein per serve or something, and that's basically the only calories that are in it. So it's a great snack, helps me get up my protein and fills in my cravings. And then the only other thing is a protein shake with 2 scoops of whey protein, which is about 48 grams of protein. And then at the beginning of the cut, I had it with low-fat milk, but now I'm just having it with water, just because that 600 mils of milk is about 255 calories. So taking that out every day over the course of a week adds up to about, 1,400, 1,500 calories. So yeah, it's just those simple little things, those changes that will make a difference over the long run. So with that said, I'm gonna go munch on my chicken, rice and avocado, and I'll see you guys in the next segment. Update day, update day, update day. Just kidding, we don't even do update days, but it's update time. I'm crashing out. I'm officially crashing out. Context, here's some context. Last night, I did not sleep. It's been like, 30 something hours now without sleeping. Man, I'm crashing out. Let me show you my eyes. Can you see? It's kind of hard to see, but man, I am. Oh, focus. I'm so sleep deprived, so I'm crashing out. And if you're wondering why I'm like super wet, my hood's wet and everything. Let me show you. Let me show you what's going on. I think you can see that. It is bucketing outside, and I decided that it would be a great opportunity to do like an hour and a half of cardio. And I got hailed on and all sorts. So that was great. It was actually exactly what I needed. So yeah, we're crashing out. And at one point a truck drove past me and there was like a big puddle of water on the side of the road. And yeah, I think you know where that went. So that was great. So yeah, we're crashing out. So here's what we're gonna do about it. Never fear, there is a plan.
Warning. The following plan was established at a time of very poor decision-making due to sleep deprivation and an extreme calorie deficit. Please do not attempt to replicate this plan.
Right, I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna buy like a 6-pack of donuts or just something ridiculously high in carbs. And then we're gonna just try and get the most mind-blowing, skin-splitting pump imaginable. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm probably gonna go like thousands of calories over my day to day. This is not a good example, by the way, for anyone at all out there. Although there is a point to be made for insulin sensitivity and the prospect of refeeds being beneficial. But honestly, today I could care less about the science. So yeah, I'm just going to embrace the crash out. And hopefully this pump is exactly what I need. So I'll see you once I get back from the store and I'll show you whatever it is that I'm going to be crashing out eating. Alright, we are so back. Okay, now I decided on orange and poppy seed muffins. I was going to go, this is a 6-pack, and best believe I'm demolishing the whole thing. I guess I'll film it for you. I was going to go with an 8-pack of chopped chip muffins. And then I was like, that might be a little bit extreme. But it was very tempting. But we went with orange and poppy seed, so I'm going to mess up that whole thing. They didn't have donuts. For anyone that knows me, or anyone that wants to know,
Donuts are like my favorite thing in the entire world. Shout out Will Tennyson. Real ones know that humans were put on this earth simply to eat donuts. Unfortunately, they just didn't have any, which was, a bit heartbreaking. But also, we got chicken, watermelon, strawberries, and cottage cheese. So, the plan is mess up all our carb sources. We're going to mess up the whole bag of muffins, the watermelon, the strawberries. We're also going to have the cottage cheese, but that's not part of what I'm talking about right now. And then we're going to give it like 4 hours-ish to try and absorb as much as we can. Damn, I look so white. Well, I am, but, it's not doing me any favors right now. And then it's pump time. So yeah, I gotta try not to tweak out too much between now and then. But yeah, wish me luck. Oh, actually, I'm gonna film myself eating all these orange and poppy seed muffins. I don't know why I keep saying the full name. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it as much as I'm about to, because this is like really intense for me, because I like, even on a bulk I wouldn't do this. Not that I necessarily bulk in general, but like this is about to be a very this is very uncharted territory. This is very unprecedented. So yeah, wish me luck, and I'm like so excited right now. Oh, dude. Okay, here we go. I hope these are good. I'm actually gonna be so sad if they're not. How could they be bad? Oh my god. Oh, that's insane. That. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, yes, we have to get me involved right now. This is sort of one of those moments where like you've been dreaming about this for like months, if not years, and then you finally like get to like have that moment. It's just so good. I thought this moment was going to be a 6-pack of Krispy Kreme donuts, though, to be completely honest, but this is like still basically the same thing, so I'll take it. I don't know whether I said this a second ago, but this whole box is like, what I did the math a second ago. Well, I didn't. My calculator did. This whole thing is 1,363 calories. And just like as a point of reference, my calories at the like on my diet recently have been like 2.5-ish or 2.4 thousand. So this is like more than half of my daily calories of what it has been, but I'm also going to be eating my regular meals on top of this today. So call it a refeed day, call it whatever you want. I'm just having fun eating my muffins. I feel like a kid in a candy shop, like literally. Well, that was quite the experience. Obviously, I have been talking over this whole time, but that is 6 muffins. 6 muffins, 1,300 calories. like 12 grams of protein. So probably not the most ideal protein to calorie ratio. Yeah, but that's fine. Anyway, onto the watermelon, and then the strawberries, and then and then you'll see me in like 4 hours-ish. Maybe 5.
But first, it's time for a little quiz. Question 1. How did eating 6 muffins after not sleeping for 24 hours result? Was it A, nausea and vomiting? B, a massive headache? C, a ton of optimism immediately followed by crushing realization? Or D, a skin-splitting pump, just like we planned? That's right. If you picked either A, B, or C, you are correct. In fact, the only incorrect answer was D. What a shocking surprise!
All right, let's run the footage.
And we won't always free fall back to nothing. 'Cause I'm just starting to learn. I've always been chasing
All right, here we are, week 9, 63 days in, with only 1 week to go. I would extend this cut for even longer because we're not as lean as I wanted to end this at. And the morning weight for today was 87.5 kg, so we kind of stalled out a bit this week. I definitely had some lower calorie days, and still got my cardio in, but I'm probably holding a bit of water right now, and I had some really shocking sleep, basically this whole week. Not quite as shocking as our little crash out moment from earlier, but still pretty bad. So I'm probably holding quite a bit of water, and obviously the lack of sleep increases cortisol, which promotes fat storage. So it wasn't exactly the best week, but yes, in exciting news, and I'm not trying to make this a vlog style video, obviously, and this might get cut, but I am moving. I'm moving away from where I live right now. Next week, almost a week to the day. So we unfortunately, because it's just going to be super hectic, and I know that I'm not going to be able to stick to the right meal plan and the right training regime, and just a whole host of other things that are going to come with moving. I'm just going to need a little bit more freedom to, not for long, and obviously we'll get back on to the next training cycle as soon as I'm settled at my new place. But yeah, so for that reason, and because like I said, we're not quite as dialed as what I want it to be, the remaining week, or 6 days only I think, is just going to be like super low calorie. We're going to up the cardio even more, and so yeah, this is basically, we're going to be cutting out a fat chunk of the carbs, probably even some of the fat, not that there's much left to be honest, which just means more chickens. So yeah, and at this point we've probably 63 days. I think I'll probably go through about 3 whole chicken breasts a day. So 63 times 3 chicken breasts is what, like 189, and then divide that by 2 to get 2 chicken breasts per chicken, about 95, almost just under 95. So yeah, unfortunately 95 poor little poultry pluckers have had to become no more just to feed my incredibly mid physique. Sorry, whoops, but muscles. Anyway, so much yapping. this will be the last time you hear my voice.
Wrong.
The week 10 update will just be, I'm not sure what it'll be. I might make a little aesthetic montage or something, but you'll find that out in about 2 minutes of your time, I think. But with that said, we'll do the week 9 update. I've told you, what have I told you? I don't even know. I've told you so far that it hasn't been the hardest thing in the world. Obviously, my calorie deficit hasn't been super aggressive. It hasn't been since the start, to be honest. It was only whatever it was at the start, deficit like 380 calories or whatever. And then obviously as I've been going down, my metabolic rate has also been adjusting in kind. So it's never really felt like I've been starving. Obviously there's been days where I've gotten super hungry. But yeah, it hasn't been too hard. Obviously this is like, for me, I think the eating of all of that food, also because I try and eat quite clean, no matter what phase of my training I'm in. So getting down like 4,000 or above calories a day on my bulks. Well, not bulks, I don't like using that term, but everyone's familiar with it. On my bulks, to me that is quite a lot harder than just eating less and eating what I have been eating at the moment. It also frees up like so much time. I find so much more free time when I'm in like doing these cutting phases. Because just when I'm telling you, I'm the slowest eater in the world. Anyone that knows me can vouch for that. So when I'm bulking, I'm spending like multiple hours a day just sitting there eating, not to mention any cooking time as well. So it's been great. It's actually been so much fun. Unfortunately, at the start of the video, I said I'd like to work on my tan. That hasn't really happened. So we might have to fake tan, because I'm thinking of doing a practice peak week, for like a mock peak week for whenever my first show will be. And I obviously will be doing that when I wanted to do it this week, but again, a couple of things have come up. But I might make a separate video doing a practice peak week somewhere soon. Now, on that note, and like I said, I don't want to make this vlog style, but we're gonna have so much more content coming to where I'm moving. I'm partially moving for work, but I'm partially moving to do much better content. Where I live at the moment is sort of this space, the fitness space, this sort of industry is not really a thing where I live. So I need sort of new networks. But yeah, I'm probably gonna cut everything I just said. And if I do, then you won't even hear it. But with that all said, enjoy the week 9 posing update.
I just want you. I just want you. The words I never said but wanted to. I'm losing you. I'm losing you. Oh, but these thoughts won't let you go. They keep running back to you. Just want escape me, the recoil it hurts. And I can't look the other way. I'm chasing starlight to find it's died away. Breathe it in. It's just now. We're just falling. And we won't always free fall back to nothing. 'Cause I'm just starting to learn. I've always been chasing.
Alright, and just like that, guys, that is going to wrap up the entirety of the video. I hope there's not too much background noise going on right now. I'm in the cardio area. It's a very rare sight, but this is undeniable proof that I have been doing my cardio. So this is just going to be like a little epilogue of, you know, a sort of summary of the whole video. And so the summary will include the following sort of categories. We're going to look at the overall success of the whole cut. We're going to speak about how the cut helped to identify a bunch of weak points in my physique that need improvement going forward. We're also going to look at what I could have done better, strictly in terms of the cut. Also sort of what went wrong here and there. And we're also going to be talking about what comes next in terms of myself and whatever you guys will see on the channel. But before any of that, I just want to preface this, and you might have noticed already by the fact that my hair is completely different to the last time you saw me, but this video was, the last thing you saw rather, was recorded a week ago to the day. So that shows you how hard it is sometimes to get everything together to film just these little bits, because I didn't originally film this whole section last week, but the framing was completely out of whack. Everything just went wrong, so I just decided I'm just going to redo it. So yeah, here goes. So starting off with the overall success, considering we originally planned to only drop, I think it was 16 pounds or something like that I said in the beginning. It ended up being closer to 16 kilos. I think it was about 15 and a half. So that taught me a couple of things. First of all, I severely underestimated what it looks like to be super lean. And that's not even to mention the fact that I never got to a super lean body composition. So it was really eye-opening to see how much fat I truly had on my frame and how much it really takes to get into show lean contest. And I had some idea, but I think I was slightly, if not a bit more than slightly, underestimating what that looked like. But in terms of overall success, I would say that it was very successful. And as far as the plan that we outlined at the beginning in regard to setting our original calories and macros, maintaining them when we could,
and then tapering accordingly or fluctuating where needed. I think we did everything correctly in that regard. So overall, I'd say it was a pretty good success. Now, I wanted to talk about identifying weak points. So sometimes when you're carrying that extra fluff, it can be really hard to see what kind of actual muscle you're developing underneath. And then when you cut that back, you can see that those pockets that were gaining extra fat really didn't gain too much muscle. For example, the thing I'll reference is my lats. I thought my lats were growing at a much greater rate than they actually were. And it wasn't until I cut down a lot of that back fat that I realized most of that mass that I'm seeing is actually just excess fat. So that's one example of the way that identifying those things comes to fruition with a lower body fat composition. So that was a great thing as well to become mindful of going into my next gaining phase. So I'm very glad that we got that on the radar. Now, what comes next? I've decided that now that I've sort of amassed a decent frame and a really good base, my healthy sort of base weight at the moment is about where I am now, so about 205 pounds. And I think that from this point forward, it's going to be a much better, healthier, and more effective plan to do a main gaining lifestyle. If at any point I want to do any powerlifting or whatever, then we'll have to revisit this idea. But for the time being, a main gaining lifestyle is what's going to suit my goals the best. And in terms of what that looks like for you guys, that's going to stay under wraps for now. And what could we have done better in the cut? There's always something that we could have done better. I think having more realistic expectations, like I said, in terms of what I underestimated, that would have helped to, in the planning phase of this, of the just gone cut. I think with a better plan, I could have executed a more strategic and probably better resulting cycle or phase rather. And another thing would be my digestion. I obviously in that segment you saw where I went over what my regular diet looked like. Next time, and I think it was a little bit of a weird period in my life in general. So some things were out of whack already, but I think going forward and the next time it's prep time, it'll look a bit different in terms of micronutrients especially. But I knew full well going in that the main goal of that cut that we've just done was to establish a generalized idea of sort of establishing the skeleton, the spine rather, if you want to call it that. And then all those other things, when we come to our first proper prep, is what's going to make up the rest of the body, if that makes sense. So it's sort of just the framework. But that is technically something that we could have / will do better in the future. And I think those are the two biggest points. A little tiny point, which is a callback to a while earlier in the video, is the tan thing. I really need to focus on getting some more sun, or at least taking a vitamin D supplement. It's a real problem for me. This is low-hanging fruit that I should have 100% been able to take accountability for, and just didn't through my own neglect. But like I said, low-hanging fruit that we'll definitely cross off going forward. And with that, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up. I have been yapping in your ear for damn near 2 hours now, and I'm sorry for that, but I hope you got a lot out of this video. I hope any mistakes that I did make or anything that you picked up on, you can sort of reform to your own needs or to a better standard. But thank you guys so much for watching. Anyone that's watched this far, I commend you. We're basically making a Marvel movie out here. Well,
not in terms of quality, but in terms of quantity. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. As always, these videos take a lot of time and effort to make, so a like and subscribe would be very much appreciated. And comment how long you think I've been on the treadmill for, because I'll give you a hint, it did not start when I pressed record. Or comment something else, because that's a pretty random thing to comment. Right, that is all. Cue the sparkles thing.